Hi everyone, chaps and chapettes. This is Stacey McLennan of Unity Peace Patrol News. This is our emergency late night broadcast on updates on the Liverpool Bank of Love Unity Peace Patrol that's going on there. I call it a Unity Peace Patrol. They are love activists. Wow, Michael, we've just seen some quite epically balls ups of Merseyside police there with excessive force and pushing a young lady out into the road as well. What do you make of that, Michael?
Right. I've just been watching that, and from what I could hear being said by people up on the balcony of the building, is the woman they arrested is actually an independent press photographer. Now, doing my view of that is, what the hell do Merseyside police think they're playing at?
So there was an independent photographer from the press, sorry.
A press photographer. That is not going to do Merseyside police any good at all. That smacks of one thing. We are going to do something illegal. We're going to break the law. We don't want witnesses. Why else have they handed out dispersal order notices? The only time you're allowed to hand out a dispersal notice is if there is evidence and a history of violent or disorderly behaviour. This has got nothing to do with this. My gut feeling says the Merseyside Matrix don't want witnesses to illegal behaviour. Now, I don't think these numpties have even heard of Section 26 of the Criminal Justice in Courts Act. If they go in using violent behaviour and violent tactics, I can see they will find out what Section 26 entails. And so will the Chief Constable and his deputy and his assistant Chief Constables at Merseyside Police. The Police and Crime Commissioner for the Merseyside area, I hope they are watching or listening to this, or watching this on Facebook, and they ring the Chief Constable at home. I mean, it's what, 20 past 11 now. I hope they get him out of bed and say, what the hell are you doing, allowing your Matrix officers to behave like Nazi stormtroopers? Because they are the public face of the police. They're the one who hold the police to account. Well, I'm sorry, but the Merseyside Police and Crime Commissioner is not doing that tonight. They need to. They need to get down, and they need to hold the police to account. They need to hold the Chief Constable of the Merseyside Police to account.
They do indeed. I mean, I don't understand how on earth anyone has in their right to actually do something like that, you know? I mean, it's just shocking. I mean, this lady couldn't have even been much older than myself. I'm 26 years old.
It doesn't make any difference.
Does it? I know it doesn't. I know it's like,
it doesn't matter how young, how old somebody is. That sort of behaviour by the police is totally unacceptable in anyone's book and by anyone's standard. They have done themselves no favours tonight. They've lost the high ground, moral, legal, or otherwise. So really and truly, I think the Police and Crime Commissioner for Merseyside needs to get down there, and certainly needs to wake up the Chief Constable of Merseyside and start demanding some pretty straight answers and pretty quickly. Because if they do go in and they use illegal tactics, they use violence, there's injuries, then these officers should go to jail. They will find, like I said earlier, just now, if they don't know what Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act is, now they soon will do.
it's shocking. It's absolutely.
What we are seeing is a police state being run by ACPO. ACPO is the Association of Chief Police Officers, so they're trying to rebrand themselves as the National Police Chiefs Council. I'm afraid it doesn't matter what name they give themselves, it's still the same. They're an unaccountable, unelected body of very senior police officers who seem to be setting police policy without it being subjected to public scrutiny. Why else do they get rid of the police authorities who were elected and they're from elected representatives on local councils, and they held the police to account, and it worked very well. It does raise some very serious questions. Now, like I say, if the Merseyside Police and Crime Commissioner can hear this, get down there now and start asking questions and demand answers as to what the hell is going on. The police it's a civil matter. The police have no business being there, other than to stop a breach of the peace. If they create the breach of the peace, then
occupied bank update we've got here. This is something that a lady that put on the eyewitnesses wall. Occupied bank urgent update. Section 35 of the Anti-Social Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014 being used tonight. People have been arrested unnecessarily / illegally. Read up, trust me, I have been served this before, as have many others. It is only to disperse you from a specified area for a limited time. There's no need for arrests. Do not be afraid and read up your rights. If you get served, move and stay away until the given time. The act was designed to stop protest, time to stop picnicking. I think it meant to be nitpicking. Resist, resist, resist. Defend the occupiers. Knowledge is power. I'll be down as soon as possible. So there's a I'm just even helpfully given a link here to the act that she is referring to, which is obviously really helpful. I don't take any credit for this. I'm going to share this with you guys now, what the lady is discussing.
What was that piece of legislation again, Stacey?
This is the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014. I'm just going to present that to you so you can see it for yourself. Right. See, I'm going to have a little read through as well. Authorisations to use powers under Section 35. Okay. A police officer of at least rank of inspector may authorise the use in a specified locality during a specified period of not more than 48 hours of the powers given by Section 35 specified, means specified in the authorisation. But then I don't understand how it's gone from an inspector can issue these, and then it says an officer may give such and authorise only if satisfied on reasonable grounds that the use of powers in the locality during that period may be necessary for the purpose of removing or reducing the likelihood of members of the public in the locality being harassed, alarmed or distressed, or the occurrence in the locality of crime or disorder. Then it goes on, like the Convention of the Human Rights Act. That's quite interesting. In deciding whether to give such an authorisation, an officer must have particular regard to the rights of freedom of expression and freedom of assembly set out in Articles 10 and 11 of the Convention. Now, I'm assuming here, Michael, this means 10 and 11 of the Convention of Human Rights.
It's the European Convention on Human Rights, and that means that the police are bound by it. They are part of the state, they're a public authority, and if they do anything under Section 6 of the Human Rights Act 1998, if they do anything which is incompatible with any of the articles under the convention, they are acting unlawfully. It means anything they do which is incompatible with the articles of the European Convention on Human Rights, that means they are acting unlawfully. They're acting outside the law.
And see, it even says an authorization under this section, it must be in writing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, or me being plain dumb. Being in writing, right? I wouldn't expect for me to be issued something in writing to be dragged out on the road and assaulted and have a camera in my face as well. I mean, and obviously the independent photographer. And then
I think that inspector may well be called to account for that, and so many officers are involved in it. That photographer could sue those officers and that inspector and Merseyside Police. for unlawful. Well, it's an unlawful arrest because the way they went about it breaches code G of pace.
There's nothing on here, guys. This is proof. I've just pressed Control and F on my Internet Explorer here, and as you can see right at the top here, I've put the word arrest in just to prove that this lady, what she's saying is right, and she is spot on. There's nothing in here that says the word arrest. I'll even put the word detain in. There you go, guys. Proof's in the pudding. This lady has obviously done her homework, and kudos for that. 100%. I'm quite shocked at the fact that they're doing this. There's nothing that says about arresting or anything like that. So they obviously have gone on, and they just, I mean, the offences here.
What they basically do is they just make up. Unfortunately, what has been proven over and over again is that the police make up the law. If they can't think of anything intelligent to arrest somebody for, they just make it up as they go along. And this is where I think a lot of police officers are going to come unstuck. And when they come unstuck, well, they've only got themselves to blame.
Oh goodness! I mean, it's just it's like we are being controlled here, you know, like being.
Oh, that's what they're trying to do. But the thing is, they can only go so far. Now, there is a power of arrest under Section 4 of this Act, but it's only to do with injunctions.
They haven't been served an injunction, from my understanding.
Those are only for antisocial behaviour. Those would have to be granted by a court.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen that you've on the social media outlet, does an inspector have to give? There's a question coming from this eyewitness, Michael. This was 7 minutes ago. I don't know whether you've answered that, whether someone's liked it. Does an inspector have to give a dispersal order, Michael?
That's the minimum level within the police service, within the management and supervisory structure of the police. An inspector is a senior supervisor, is 2 ranks above a constable, and the next rank above a sergeant and below a chief inspector. But as I've explained in the previous broadcasts, constable is the most junior rank in the police service. Sergeant is a junior supervisor, inspector is a senior supervisor, and then you've got your chief inspector, superintendent, chief superintendent. They're the middle management, and then you've got your chief officers, which are assistant chief constable, deputy chief constable, and chief constable in the forces outside of the London area. In London, you haven't got a chief constable, you haven't got an assistant chief constable. After chief superintendent, you have commander, who has the same badge of rank as an assistant chief constable. Then you've got an assistant deputy assistant chief commissioner, an assistant commissioner, a deputy commissioner, and the commissioner. So that's basically what the command structures and management structure is within the police. But in provincial forces, assistant chief constable up to chief constable, that's just chief officers. In the metropolitan and City of London forces, you've got commander, deputy assistant commissioner, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, commissioner. That's your senior, that's your chief officers, and also your senior management of that for those 2 forces.
If we do want a name, guys, we've got a name here. I've just done a little bit of tapping away there while Michael was there. The guy's name is Sir John Murphy, QPM. What does QPM stand for the listeners that don't know what?
QPM is Queen's Police Medal.
Oh, okay. So Queen's Police Medal. And when I'm looking at this picture, Michael, I mean, he looks very, very familiar to a picture that was actually sent in to us through the waves, as it were, of social media. He looks very, very familiar to the picture that was on the previous broadcast. Very, very interesting stuff. I'm going to pull up his picture. There we go. I don't know whether you can see this, Matt. Is this gentleman here? I'll try and get his picture up and see if it comes up. Oh no, they wouldn't enlarge his image, would they? And this is from the Merseyside.police.ac.uk, and there's his name there. There's his picture. I can't get that up anymore. And there's all his apparently he was a detective as well, according to this, and a rank of superintendent. SIO. What does SIO mean for the
It can mean a number of things. It depends on the force. SIO could mean special intelligence operations. It could be anything. Each police force has its own abbreviations. It has its own sort of organisation, which is constructed to suit local requirements.
I'm just looking through pay here as well. Constables pay scale. I mean, the pay that they get now. I mean, it goes on here. The inspectors with pay points. You know, like they've obviously grades. Michael, I don't know whether this is the same now as it was when you were in the force. Is this like a grading kind of system? Like the further you go up, the more you earn. Obviously, this is the impression I'm getting from these tables.
Well, what happens is, I mean, when I started, when I joined the force, I think I've got about 17 or 18,000 a year. And it's a lot more now. I mean, they have up to, as you can see, up to the inspector, they have increments. You have some there. I mean, it's just arrived on the deputy chief and chief constables.
I'm just looking here, Michael. Greater Manchester Police gets, or Chief Constable gets £185,103 a year.
Those two forces, the West Midlands and Greater Manchester, two of the larger forces. I mean, the ones in the southwest of England, Devon and Cornwall. I mean, Sean Sawyer is the Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall, and he's on 154,254. If you look at the area he has to cover, it's bigger than Greater Manchester. Devon is the biggest county in the United Kingdom. With
Cornwall, local area, is only on £154,254.
Yeah, with Devon and Cornwall, I mean, the population of Devon and Cornwall is about 1.6 million. I mean, Greater Manchester, I mean, you're probably talking about 2 or 3 million people.
It's still quite a...
It's all done on the. It's all done what they call head of capita, the number of people there are, and the responsibility it entails.
I mean, dog handlers allowance, they get an extra £2,000 on top of their wages. But I'm looking
that's what we call London weighting. That's to take account of the cost of living. That's what the weighting is.
See, I'm looking at the one that's relevant here. So, Sir John Murphy, QPM, because it's Queen's Police Medal. You get this amount of money, and I'm saying this directly to you, right? £160,000 a year, well, 160.5 grand a year, and you're not, and they say they're not paid enough. I beg to differ. That's about 4 or 5 people's wages there.
Well, let's put it this way: the public do not pay their taxes to pay someone that amount of money to behave like the Stasi.
Yeah, this is
that is not on. If the politicians and the bankers think we're going to pay our taxes to fund this sort of thuggish behaviour and unaccountable behaviour, then I think I'm sorry, but they're in for a rude awakening, because people are not going to tolerate it anymore. Now, I have heard on other media of some dream that the politicians, especially the Conservatives, have of people kicking off on the streets and calling up the police with their guns and their tasers. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that is not going to happen. They might as well kind of get real. People have woken up. They know exactly what the politicians are up to, and they will not rise to it. The people will deal with it, but they'll deal with it in a peaceful way, and it will take the police completely by surprise, because the police, I mean, in other countries where the police have tried to antagonise disorder, the public have just told them to shut up and go away, and the police have been stunned and just kind of thinking, what the hell is going on? It scares them. But this sort of behaviour being displayed tonight by Merseyside police is not going to do them any favours at all.
See, the way I look at it is as well, I mean, they're getting quite healthy salaries here, you know, like, I mean, I could live quite comfortably on even commencing service. This is from the 1st of April this year. They haven't had a pay rise by what I'm seeing here, but that doesn't matter. To me, that doesn't matter. You're still getting quite a healthy wage there, you know, and it's up and up and up and up. I mean, it's nearly, I mean, when you get to, hang on, let me see where this B is. I mean, what would B represent? I'm not entirely too sure what the B is, but from my assumption, as you're going up in grading, as it were, it's £37,000, 37.5 grand a year nearly. You know, that's almost 40 grand a year. You know, and then it goes on, because I believe sergeants are there, and obviously there should be inspectors there. You know, the money they get paid for being thugs, it's like, it's hard to describe. It's like blood money.
Well, I call it thug money because some police officers are behaving like thugs. It's sad that they've decided to decide to behave like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, the people will take them down, and they will take them down not by violence. They will take them down. They'll put them in front of a court, a proper court, not the Mickey Mouse courts that masquerade as Her Majesty's courts. Yeah. They'll be put in front of a court. They'll be given a fair hearing, and justice will be done, and it will be seen to be done. And these thugs in police uniforms need to get that into their heads. You will not get away with it. They will not get. Yeah, you will not get away with it. We will make sure you face justice, and justice will be done, and it will be seen to be done. Now, I'm just looking at this this Antisocial Crime and Disorder Act. There are restrictions placed on what the police can do. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's exemptions here where people are going about their normal business. The police cannot stop them. Now, it says here in section 36, subsection 3, it says a constable may not give a direction under section 35 that prevents the person to whom it is given attending at a place which the person is required to attend for the purposes of the person's employment or contract of services which the person is a party. So with that that independent photographer, press photographer, they've already broken that, because that is her place of employment. So so I'm afraid that could well be a breach of the law. They've already broken the law. They've failed to comply with the law, and it says here, in deciding whether to give a direction under Section 35, a constable must have particular regard to the rights of freedom of expression and freedom of assembly set out in Articles 10 and 11 of the Convention, which is the European Convention on Human Rights. So it seems to me Merseyside Matrix are just breaking the law left, right, and centre. They are just kind of putting their own spin on it. I think this is going to turn around and smack them in the face. I would not like to be the judge who has to sort through this and deal with it, because a judge will, and I don't think there'll be a district judge or a justice of the peace sitting in a magistrate school somewhere in Liverpool. I think this is going to be a senior judge who's going to deal with this, and I think he or she is really going to, if you'll pardon the expression, kick ass. And I don't think it'll just be constables and sergeants and inspectors who have their asses kicked. I think there'll be people much higher up the tree as well.
John Murphy there.
I can see him being called to account for his actions for allowing his officers to behave in that way. He's a chief constable. The buck stops with him. If the police and crime commissioner for Merseyside is not calling this chief constable into their office tomorrow morning and asking what the hell did he think he was doing, allowing that sort of behaviour, to go on, then that police and crime commissioner really, truly does need to think about their future, and if necessary, the people of Liverpool and certainly the people of Merseyside should demand the immediate resignation of both the police and crime commissioner and the chief constable.
God, I mean, it's absolutely shocking, though, isn't it? You know, I mean, I'm looking at some of these rankings of the staff. You know, I mean, it's like it's not just the chief constable, guys. It's no, let's have a look. I mean, there's Sir. Sorry, I do apologize. Yeah, I did say Sir John Murphy, didn't I? I nearly said Sir Peter Fartheed. He's
the chief constable of Greater Manchester.
Yeah, he was. We've got Deputy Chief Constable Andy Cook. That's QPM again. Assistant. There's quite a few assistant chief constables here to go through. You're probably going to laugh at some of these. We could actually, you know what I did the other night with Sir Peter Farheed. Sir Peter Farheed, how I changed his name around. We've got Assistant Chief Constable Andrew Ward, QPM. Quite a lot of these with Queen's Police medals, though.
Usually funny at the Queen's Police Medal when they've been in the police for a considerable number of years. They've got a good record. There is a medal they can get called the Police Long Service and Good Conduct Medal, which is normally a precursor to the Queen's Police Medal. Well,
it's like what I say about people that drive badly. You know, they got their license out of a cereal box. That's my own opinion, though, that they might have just been dished these out. I mean, we've got another two chief constables, Assistant Chief Constable Ian Pilling, and I've got to laugh at the name. I'm sorry. Assistant Chief Constable Chris Armit. We could put a P somewhere in that, though, couldn't we?
Armit, that name rings a bell.
Oh, does it?
It rings a bell. Yeah, could you bring that? Yeah, could you bring that up again, please, so I can see it?
Of course. That's no problem. I mean, we even have a picture here as well. He's with the Royal Engineers. Bear with me a minute. I'll just get this up. Goodness me! I mean, does it really sound familiar? What, like, do you think you might have said?
The name Armit rings a bell. I mean, if I see his face,
Bear with me a minute. There we go. He's just here. The picture isn't very clear, to be quite truthful.
Yeah, it's Armit. I know something called Arnett.
Ah, right.
Looking down the Andy Cook, Jeff Broadhead.
Shall I click on each one so we've got pictures so we can show the viewers? Oh God, he looks happy. I joined the police in 1990. For the last 7 years, I have been surprise, surprise. I have been in Merseyside, and prior to that, Lancashire and Greater Manchester.
Yeah, two forces that haven't got exactly a very whiter than white reputation. That photo of Ian Pilling, I don't know whether it's the screen that's distorting it, but he looks like his head's shaped like a police helmet. And
It does a little.
I'm sure if Mr. Pilling is looking in or listening to this, your photo does not do you justice, and it's not meant to offend. It's just that the way it makes your head look, it makes it look like you're the inside of a policeman's helmet.
Or it could just be a pure helmet, full stop. We don't know that.
It might well be a very well disguised police helmet that's kind of built into his head. You got the New World Order alike with transhumanism. What's this? I have a master's degree in police leadership and a qualified Gold Firearms commander. You can shoot a gun, good. You know, what's more dangerous, a soldier or a policeman with a gun?
See, it even says here he started his career in Blackpool and has predominantly worked in uniform roles across 3 forces, performing roles in area and in specialist departments. Wonder what the special departments these are.
Well, specialist departments in a police force are things like traffic, CID, marine divisions. Some forces have got waterborne divisions, like the Thames Valley, the Metropolitan Police, and the District Defence Police. Some of the forces have got them as well. They patrol waterways. The Ministry of Defence Police in Plymouth. They patrol the River Tamar, River Liner, River Tavy, the River Plym. They also patrol the Catwater, Plymouth Sound. They also go out into the Channel. They go as far as the Mewstone, which is in the South Hams. There used to be a firing range out there where the Royal Naval Gunnery School was. That's closed some years ago, but of course there's still munitions in the bay, so obviously they have to ensure that boats do not moor there and possibly blow themselves up the water. They also go around to Colsam Bay, which is a safe haven for ships in the event of heavy storms or gales.
Yeah.
And they also assist the Plymouth Lifeboat and also the Her Majesty's Coast Guard if there are ships in trouble out in the Channel or kind of just beyond the Plymouth breakwater. So I mean, police launches. They're not just there sort of to patrol and arrest people. They also carry out a life-saving role. They're sort of a backup for the lifeboat, and sometimes if the lifeboat is out and they get one in inshore waters, they can dispatch a police launch to rescue someone who's either a boat or a swimmer or a windsurfer who's gotten into trouble either through their own stupidity or obviously through it because something's happened that's taken them completely by surprise. So yes, I mean that's the police at their best.
Yeah.
What you will find with police officers who work on police launches, they have had to take a special qualification to become a coxswain. So you can't just apply for it. You've got to do a special course of training. You have to get I think it's a Royal Yacht Club or something like that. But down here in Plymouth, they are examined by the captain of the Port of Queen's Harbour Master, and they have to sit an exam. So, yeah, they're specially trained people. They're people who are usually part-time sort of boaties themselves, but very dedicated. And if somebody does get into trouble with a boat or a swimmer or something like that, they'll normally sometimes they'll be the first ones on scene and kind of pull them out of the water and kind of take them to safety.
Yeah. This guy here, Michael, you'll be quite interested in this. I think this is going to be quite a big interest. Some of you might have read it already. This is the Assistant Chief Constable, Andrew Ward, QPM. And there's this picture there. And it says, Assistant Chief Constable, Matrix Serious Organised Crime. So I think he's your guy, ladies and gents.
He is going to have some explaining to do.
Indeed. I mean, you can see he's originally from the North Lancashire area. After finishing school in Lancaster, he came to Liverpool for a period of further education before joining the Merseyside Police in 1983, with whom he has now over 30 years experience. But with this 30 years experience, everybody's human, you know, they make mistakes, but this is probably a big, as I would call it, #epic fail.
Yeah, with police officers, I mean, they can go through the ranks in one particular force, but when they get up to, I think they can go as far as a deputy chief in their force, but they cannot then go on to be the chief constable. They've got to go to another force before they can come back.
See this one here. Here we go. It just brought us quite nicely onto Deputy Chief Constable there. This is Andy Cook, who is a QPM. I am Andy Cook, Deputy Chief Constable of Merseyside Police. I joined Merseyside Police in 1985, having obtained an honours degree in politics from Nottingham University, and have served as a detective at every rank. In 1998, I was promoted to detective inspector in charge of the robbery squad, where I led and managed covert investigations into force-wide and regional armed robbery offences. In 1999, I was promoted to detective inspector in charge of target operations and the major crime unit. That's obviously something to do with Matrix with Mr. Andrew Ward. I mean, I don't know whether they're linked there.
Major crime unit. I mean, when you're talking about major crime, you're talking about major frauds. You're also talking about organised crime, drugs, murders, serious offences. Things like paedophile rings will come under the major crime. Someone heading a major crime.
I have my own reservations on the paedophilia in police and the cover-up they do. But then he says, it goes on to say, Michael, anyway, that in 2005 I was promoted to Detective Chief Superintendent and became the first commander of the nationally recognised Matrix team. I think he might be collared too. I think, but obviously you're the human library here.
If you just read a bit more, the Matrix team is, as it says, responsible for tackling gun and gang-enabled crime. One thing they've found with these gangs in big cities like London, Manchester, Liverpool, Bristol, Birmingham, Newcastle upon Tyne, Leeds, Sheffield, you've got these gangs, and unfortunately there is a lot of, they use guns. Now, this is a major problem because innocent people can get caught up in the crossfire when you've got a turf war between these gangs.
Yeah.
So yes, this is what the Operation Matrix is about. It's about tackling gun crime, but it's also trying to break up the gangs.
Yes. I mean, for the Matrix, for this kind of thing, do you think that's necessary?
The Matrix in Liverpool is what used to be called the Operational Support Division. Or as they were called within the Odds and Sods department. They used to get very upset when people used to call them that. I understand. They're now called Matrix, which sounds a bit better. And they're the equivalent of Greater Manchester Police's Tactical Aid Unit, or as they have been showing themselves over and over again to be, Thugs R Us.
I've looked down here at initials to do with this gent. Well, I'll say he's a gent. I'm going to have to say that because I don't know any different. Sir John Murphy, QPM Chief Constable. And it says here that somewhere along here, I'll even highlight it.
Yes, I've just seen it. It says here he read law at Liverpool University and has a postgraduate criminology diploma from Cambridge. And in 1995, he was awarded a Fulbright Fellowship and worked in the USA with the FBI and other policing agencies researching covert policing methods. Yeah, well, covert policing methods, if they're used properly, they can be used to disrupt organised crime. And that is if covert policing techniques are used properly. If they're used in a negative way, it can be for the worst. And I think we've seen what's happened with where undercover police have infiltrated protest groups. Things have gone badly wrong. Now there have been cases where people have been kettled during protest marches in London, and they have actually seen undercover police officers have been stirring things up to show their warrant cards to the officers who just let them go out of the kettle. That is, when there were the riots where buildings got burned down, they found there were people coordinating it and with black race, and they think these were either undercover police officers, or they were security services, sort of fanning the flames quite literally, and encouraging and actually coordinating and organising it. So you've actually got a false flag incident, but also you've got the state trying to go, oh look at all this, look at how violent and disorderly the public are. No, it's not. They know exactly what's going on, and they know also that they've got security services and undercover police actually encouraging it, which is a crime in itself.
See, this is the thing, you know. I mean, I'm just shocked and frustrated. See, I'm all the way down in well, it's not sunny today. Well, sunny right now. It's dark. You know, if I could get out to Liverpool, I'd be up there on a jetpack. You know, I'd even have my little S cape on. You know, or even my minion outfit. I haven't quite decided. If I could invent one in the next 5 minutes, I'd be there.
Yeah, all Merseyside police have done is they've just reinforced the case for sheriffs and deputies to keep them in line. The police may not like it, the politicians may not like it. Posse comitatus, literally translated from Latin into English, is power of the community. The communities are the ones who have the power. When the case was originally enacted, it was a case of the police had to go along with the wishes of the community. Well, they decided to kind of go their own way, so they've lost their way, or they have deliberately gone down that path. But, excuse me, I can see in the not too distant future, in fact, I would put it as the very near future, that the police are going to find themselves up against posse comitatus, the power of the community, and there is going to be a massive clampdown on the police. Section 26, I think, is just a sort of precursor, and I am beginning to wonder now if the reason the police have not had any training in Section 26 is because there is a clampdown on their corruption and their abuse of power. I'm wondering if that is deliberate, or whether it has been deliberately ignored, hoping that people don't find out. Well, I'm sorry, but people are finding out, and so people aren't stupid. And I think, as quite a few officers have found out, and looking at the colour of their face after they've read it, it's gone from a healthy pink to a ghostly white. I think they're beginning to realise very quickly that, yes, their get out of jail free card has just been taken away from them, and they're not fireproof anymore. They're not untouchable. Great Commander of Police's Operation Wolverine think they're untouchable. They found out they're not.
See, we are going and saying like this is up at the northwest. I think it's happening everywhere, but I think what's happening is with it happening everywhere, it's probably, from what I'm getting, is that it's not so obvious in other places, or they're just not, people aren't awake enough yet to actually realise.
There's quite all over the country. I mean, people are waking up, and what's happening is they're telling others, and I mean the police can try and sort of stop them from doing this, but because if people are better informed or well informed, they can soon slap down any sort of behaviour by the police of that nature, and say, "Oh, wind your neck in. You can't do that. If you think you can, right, we'll have you into court." The police will learn very quickly that people aren't stupid. They will find out, and they'll find ways of stopping them, and they'll find legal and legitimate ways of stopping them. But it's time for the people to take back control and to say to the police, right, you've had it too good for too long, and now we are going to make sure you do what you are told and what you are supposed to do. That is to keep the peace and to protect the community, not to try and control the community, and not bully or harass or intimidate.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got some images here from an eyewitness, and we had a little look before we went live on air, didn't we? Of this madness that's happening down on the ground in Liverpool. We have a look down and see what's going off. Wow. I mean, they're all around. They're all surrounding this place. I'll pull out and see what was up, and obviously I thought this was a different image. That's the first image that we were shared, and the next one I've obviously had to download. And there's people obviously trying to get past or whatever. and the police are actually just blocking their way. I mean, don't know what you make of this. I mean, people can't just be stopped from walking out on the street. Look how close they are to the road. I mean, if someone's got a wheelchair, for instance, or a pram, obviously going to go into this area here, unless officers move out of the way. I don't know what you make of this. I mean, I think this is just bonkers. That's the only good term I could actually beside this at. Here's the other one. There's people that have obviously got lovely candles and, you know, put rocks with like stars, shapes there. You know, it's not. If this was violent in any way, I mean, I could totally understand why the police are here. But there's no violence at all coming from any of them. Peaceful. I mean,
I'm just monitoring social media at the moment, and somebody said to me, does an inspector have to give the dispersal order? Yes, they do. It's got to be at least an inspector. Now, from what I've seen of the act and also what the police are doing up in Liverpool, my view is that the police are possibly breaking the law. So they really do need to be very, very careful. At the moment, they're kind of walking a tightrope. If they go storming in, I mean, that's when they really are going to really mess up big time.
There is as well. I mean, I've seen this view on a on another person's social media outlet. Because I'm not going to obviously mention the outlet. I mean, it's very obvious, but never mind. We've got a interview from a businesswoman, of all people, from the famous channel ITV, saying that the person was actually annoyed with the protest and thinks it's out of order. I'm trying to find this now. There's so many different updates coming through on social media. Wouldn't you agree there, Michael? There's so many different people.
Unfortunately, what you tend to do is you've got these professional renter quotes who will do anything to sort of get themselves on TV, or they are deliberate plans. And it's just to sort of promote a particular point of view. The trouble is, a lot of them you see right through them. They are about as solid as I don't know what. I mean, they're transparent. They're completely transparent. You can see right through them.
Definitely. I'm going to play the audio of this because obviously with copyright and whatnot. Well, I'll just play this and see what you guys think.
12 days after they took over the empty Bank of England building and a day after an eviction order, love activists are still there and still making their message clear.
2,500 homeless people on the streets of Liverpool. We've fed, watered and sheltered over 60 of them every single night this place has been open.
Footage shot inside seems to show they can go on feeding people.
Very well stocked kitchen now. There's even a gas supply as well as electricity, and that goes into this. This area is the vegan space.
Beautiful empty building. We've been able to clothe people, provide them with toiletries, love, shelter, point them in the right direction. It's just been a very beautiful experience.
Do you care that the law says you shouldn't be there?
I care about homeless, starving people.
It's not the law.
I care about love over law, people over profit. You know.
How long will you stay here?
As long as it takes.
As long as what takes?
Well, just as long as it takes.
Sarah Bryan is one of a growing number of business people in the area annoyed by the protest.
They've just defaced a listed building. And while I am passionate about the homeless people in Liverpool and their right to receive help, I'm also passionate about attracting new business into the commercial district and building Liverpool up and creating a better reputation. This is anarchy. It's not constructive. It's not helping homeless people, in my opinion.
Only a few doors down from the occupied bank is Liverpool Town Hall, and the activists are demanding to meet the city's mayor, Joe Anderson. A council spokesman said it is not commenting on any of those demands. And on the day when new figures from the Institute for Public Policy Research show the Northwest has the highest number of empty homes in the country, the banners may be flagging, but the protesters show no sign of giving in. Anne O'Connor, ITV News, Liverpool.
Wow. I mean, they gave one of the activists there hardly any room to really speak, you know, and say anything. And the businesswoman, they gave all the time in the world. If you notice, she had near enough half of that interview there to say what she actually thought. I mean, to call us all anarchists, or what was it David Cameron calls us, Michael?
Extremists. Well, the thing is, anarchy is not. It's a misdescribed word. Anarchy is when the people have control. There's a saying when a government is afraid of the people, you have anarchy. When the people are afraid of the government, you have tyranny.
Oh, I mean, I'm just
what has happened over the years. The people have panicked, sort of drip. The anarchy is kind of overthrown the government. It's the Bolshevik revolution. It's not. It is the exact opposite of tyranny. It's democracy. Anarchy is democracy in its true sense. Tyranny is totalitarianism. This is what the New World Order are trying to slide in, and I'm sorry, but I'm afraid they're not going to. A lot of people, too many people have woken up. They are going to stop them, whatever. So they really do need to wake up and smell the coffee.
This is what I've got here. The actual definition of anarchy is obviously a noun. A state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. Now, I think this is a very propaganda-esque, if that is even a word, that it is, kind of definition here, you know, because it says he must ensure public order in a country threatened with anarchy.
That is actually a misconstrued meaning of the word anarchy. I mean, what it is, as you see, the second one, it says an absence of government and absolute freedom of the individual. Anarchy is when the people are free, and the government do as they are told. The government are there to. They're not there to control. They're not there to order people around. They're servants for the people. They're not their masters, and this is what they seem to have forgotten. They are there to run the country as in accordance with the people's wishes, not in accordance with the wishes of an unelected cabal called the City of London.
Definitely. I mean, it's anarchy. I mean, a state of disorder due to absence of non-recognition of authority. These people have a recognition of authority or controlling systems. They recognize that. And what they're doing is they're taking the power back lawfully and peacefully. If there was, I mean, from my understanding, anarchy is quite a big word. It's quite a boom word that makes you think that they're violent. They're acting out of.
That's propaganda. I mean, what the City of London are doing is what they're claiming there. State of disorder due to absence of whatever. So yeah.
It's just absolutely shocking, you know, like just the amount of shocking kind of thing. Oh, this is anarchy. Well, this is what I say to you. I didn't quite catch the lady's name, and I hope you are listening, along with our little friends at GCHQ. Hi. What I'd say to you personally, you do not know what is actually happening in this, and you are a sheep. Okay. And there's another thing I got to say that she said about defacing the building. Now, they have not defaced that building whatsoever. If they were, they would have been spray painting all over the place with, I don't know, slogans or any inappropriate kind of words like swear words or whatever, or ACAB, ACAB or CUPPers are bar stewards, but they're not. They're actually got sheets. Well, sheets. This is what I don't know exactly what they've used, but they use sheets, and they've wrote on it, so they haven't defaced anything. And that's not my opinion, but do you believe it? I don't believe that they've actually.
They haven't. What they've done is they've got fabric, and they've also got banner material, and they sprayed it onto those, and they're hanging them down. Now, I mean, it smacks of rent-a-quote, professional rent-a-quote. So, I mean, I think people really do need to be very, very sceptical of what the mainstream media is pumping out. I mean, it's now become absolutely obvious that what the mainstream media is pumping out is no more than propaganda. People don't believe it anymore. So, I mean, it's just a waste of time and just pumping it out because people are just taking no notice of it.
They're throwing it around as well. They're throwing it around, throwing loads of different bits of legislation out. And they've actually used Article 61 of the Magna Carta. I mean, the Magna Carta, it's a beautiful bit of 1215 they used, or was it the 1217 one, Michael? I mean,
I don't know which one they've gone for, but a lot of the Magna Carta is in the European Convention on Human Rights. There are a number of the articles of the European Convention. If you look at their corresponding articles in Magna Carta, the modern English translation is more or less word for word. So, I mean, if anybody's listening, they're kind of into the Magna Carta, and they're looking for their basic human rights, well, just look in the European Convention on Human Rights. That is where a lot of the articles within the convention are drawn from. It's drawn from the Magna Carta. So, yes, the Magna Carta is still alive, and it applies right across Europe, even in Russia. Because Russia is one of the 47 signatories to the European Convention on Human Rights.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking up the Article 61 of the Magna Carta, and for any sheep that are listening, or GCHQ, it actually has not been abandoned, or it hasn't actually stopped. It's kept going, you know.
What's this? The one in Liverpool?
Yeah, they've actually taken this out of. This is what they've actually used to seize the building. And I say seize, I mean seize is a very, very big word, isn't it? You know, they've took it upon themselves to just use a bit of legislation. Magna Carta is obviously in the European Convention of Human Rights, and it's their human right to. Well, they've assisted so many people as well. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, Magna Carta, they cannot change it. So, I mean, if they try to take people into court and the court says, oh dear, you've broken the Magna Carta, they're then going to start looking at the European Convention on Human Rights saying, oh dear, you've broken that, you've broken that, you've broken that. Oh dear, you've also broken Section 6 of the Human Rights Act. That means you're guilty of an offence either under Section 26 of the Criminal Justice in Courts Act 2015, or you might even be guilty of misconduct in public office. The police, as I said, they've done themselves no favours, and I can see a lot of them, those involved, are really going to cop it. I wasn't intended as a pun, but I've got a feeling that there are going to be some serious questions asked of Merseyside police, and I think I would never, like I said earlier on, if the Police and Crime Commissioner for Merseyside area has any sense, they will call in the senior management of Merseyside Police and demand answers. And those senior officers had better have some pretty straight answers waiting for that commissioner. Because if they don't, then the commissioner should use their powers and dismiss the lot of them with immediate effect. What they allow to happen is unacceptable. It's indefensible.
It could
must use their power and sack them if necessary.
I should, or even be forced to resign, you know, like, and there's, I mean, we're getting a lot of feedback on social media outlets though, Michael, about this broadcast and the other previous two that we've done. I mean, we've done 2 in one day, which is quite cool, you know, and I'm thinking, wow, thanks ever so much for the response, guys. It's just actually, I mean, it's absolutely immense, the people that have actually come through here and like come on and listened. And our little friends at GCHQ, we know that you possibly are listening, and if you are, got any messages for them, Michael?
Those people inside the building do not, if the Matrix come in and start using violence, don't respond with violence. You are allowed to defend yourself. If they start using tasers or they start using any form of illegal weapons, pava spray, you're only allowed to use it if people are offering violence. If anything like that is used, then it needs to be photographed, it needs to be filmed. If you can get their collar numbers, get them, because those officers, there needs to be a formal complaint made to the chief constable. I doubt it will. It should go straight to the IPCC and also straight to the Police and Crown Commissioner from Merseyside.
I think I've got a message here as well for all those that are in that building. You know, I mean, it's the same as Michael. Get your cameras on, your phones, video cameras, whatever you have, and film, and you could really use it, you know. I mean, I think this is where social media outlets are a great thing. I mean, as another person actually said on this on a different social media outlet, he actually said my friends are actually coming off Facebook because or Facebook or Twitter or wherever it was, he said, because I'm worried about getting watched by the government. Let them watch. This is what he said. Let them watch. What have we got to lose?
This is what they want you to do. They are trying to spread fear because they can. That's how they control people. But once they realise that people are not afraid of them, they're not afraid to expose them, because that is what they fear the most. The government and the paedophiles and those controlling them, the thing they fear the most is exposure. Their sordid activities are out in the open for everyone to see, and that is what they are absolutely terrified of.
I think they are as well. I think that, like, I know, like, some people say, oh, well, any exposure is better than no exposure, even if it's negative. But see, the country are going to be looking at this, especially if that independent photographer in one of the eyewitnesses videos said, wow, you know, like, whoa, put it out on obviously the papers tonight, going out tomorrow, that people were arrested and they weren't violent. It's going to go down like a lead balloon, really, isn't it?
Well, I think if that goes to court tomorrow and the police try to BS the magistrate, I think the magistrates will give it very short shrift and throw that out very quickly. Because you'll find that press photographers and journalists have got very good legal backup. The NUJ has a very, very good legal support for obvious reasons.
They even
they are very, very skilled in media law, libel law, and also the law generally. So, I mean, the police have really made a big error of judgment by arresting an independent press photographer, because, I mean, she will probably be onto them tonight. They will get somebody into the police station and ask the police what's going on, and then that, I think, is when the police are going to really realise they've bitten off all they can chew. If she goes into court and they start flinging around Human Rights Act, and they also say, well, sorry, but the police have abused the the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Disorder Act. They've abused the law they're supposed to uphold. That's not going to go down very well with a judge or with a bench of justices of the peace. They are going to basically throw the case out in a very short space of time. I mean, the quickest I've done a case lasted about, well, less than 14 minutes. I was following magistrates. I've seen ones that last even less than that, and that was because the CPS had gotten offered no evidence because they realised that they've got no case to answer. So rather than sort of tell the person or tell the court the day before, right, we're withdrawing, they went to the person, get calls to them, and maximum inconvenience and loss, and try to get away without paying any costs. The CPS have got to be reformed. They are basically acting as a criminal protection service, not a crime prosecution service. They're not fit for purpose.
I don't think they are either.
They've proven over and over again there since their inception in 1984. They have they've been planning to take cases into court where there's overwhelming evidence to convict somebody, and turn around and say, "Oh, there is no evidence or insufficient evidence." I've known their DCI turn around to them and give them both barrels down the phone, and suddenly they reviewed it and they decided to run with it. What was happening when they first started is they were taking a lot of people straight from law school, no experience in practice, and of course you were getting very bad decisions being made. People who should really have been put in front of a court and sent to prison were just walking free, or it was getting NFA, no further action. That is why they're not fit for purpose. There's also been cases where they tried to plea bargain, although they tried to, the government and the CPS tried to kill everybody. Oh yes, it's perfectly legal. What they're basically doing with plea bargaining is getting somebody to plead guilty to a crime they haven't committed by basically railroading and blackmailing them to say, oh well, you'll go down for this if you do. No, if that is going on, that is illegal. It is forbidden under the European Convention on Human Rights. Any CPS solicitor or barrister who engages in that sort of behaviour should be reported to the BSB or the SRA, and they should be struck off or disbarred if it's a barrister. That sort of behaviour has got to stop.
It's absolutely, I mean, I know I keep going over the same words. I mean, I'm trying to look up here at any legislation to do with I've got some, I know this is quite an old article actually, this is 2009, so I mean this was way before I was even waking up to what's happening in this country. Say in this country, it's going all around all over the world. Don't know whether you'd agree with that, Mike. I've got an article here. It says how police rebrand lawful protest as domestic extremism. This was back in 2009.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the government are trying to do. On the broadcast the other night, there was a meeting connected with the Button Moss, and there was somebody in the meeting who kept calling the protesters economic terrorists. Well, economic terrorists don't do things like protest. They do things like crash the economy and dictate to the politicians. They're called bankers. If they want to find it, if they want some definition of the economic terrorist, they're in the City of London. And I think with that meeting, the person was politely told to shut up, and after a few more, they're economic terrorists, they were kind of grabbed on with a scrap and then thrown out of the meeting. Those at the meeting were had just about enough of it.
Have you Googled, Michael, any domestic extremism legislation? As you've seen there, and there isn't any.
There isn't. No, there's no. Well, they try and use the Terrorism Act. The thing is, the Terrorism Act is only for those who engage in the use of explosives and use firearms.
I was going to say about the Terrorism Act. I mean, this is what Merseyside police are actually doing right now, aren't they? I mean, I know they're not using the big B word or anything. Just had a look here at some more police move in on love activists hold up and form a bank. They're going to try and look here. This was actually put at midnight, just 4 minutes after midnight. I'm going to put this up. There's some other propaganda being put on there, which, to be quite honest, I can't substantiate at the moment. There's where is it? Where's the title? My little lappy is going, so you might hear that as well. This is by Helen Davies. Recap at the Liverpool Echo. Recap: police move in on love activists hold up and form a bank. And there's a picture of one of our lovely people that are there. Police are once again gathering at the Bank of Love at the threat of eviction continues. This picture was on a social media outlet by a guy called Nick Morton, which I do recognise from that video. I mean, I don't know whether you can see this picture, Michael. It was a dark-haired man that was obviously taking pictures with some quite thick-rimmed glasses. I don't know whether you can make that out.
Just about. Well, what I'll do is I'll bring it up on my. It's Liverpool Echo. Just try.
Yeah. And I mean, I can continue talking about this, and you can obviously make your mind up. But the police have actually quietened down, so their little stunt didn't work. To be quite truthful.
What you get at these events is you get legal observers. Now, the police have bullied, assaulted, and arrested legal observers at things like Barton Moss. It was a big mistake because and also the Met have tried this, and when you do things like that, I mean, that is one of the worst things you can do, because those legal observers are there to protect both the protesters and the police. If there is, because if there is an incident, a police officer gets injured, those legal protesters can say, yes, I saw that police officer get hit by that person, and they used a weapon, or they just slapped them in the face. Or they can say, well, no, that police officer fell over and got trampled because obviously with the sheer number of people. So what it will do, they are there as an independent pair of eyes, and they can actually be the police's. They can confirm whether the police have acted correctly, or whether what they're saying is correct, or whether the police are lying through their teeth. And really, the police need to be very careful, because if they start arresting legal observers just to get them out of the way, so they can just engage in lawless behaviour. I mean, really and truly.
On one of the social media outlets, Love Activists is the page that you want to be looking at. Outside the bank now, urgent call for live streamers, legal observers, supporters of all kinds. And there's a picture from one of our eyewitnesses. So there is a call for help. And
there is something there. There's a video I'm looking at on the Liverpool Echoes.
Yeah, I'm going to play it.
Which went out at about 8 minutes past 11, which was about half hour ago. You can see the. I mean, the police are just standing there and they're like folding their arms, doing the usual, looking. But it is interesting. In the words of Colin Baker, pissed off, really dreadfully pissed off, which is difficult. Now we've got this Nick Morton at 11:15 saying things have got pretty heated with police trying to get activists from front of the building to move on. Then at 11:20 he said all the activists have now gone from the front of the building, line of about 16 police officers in front of the door. And then we've got this report at 22 minutes past 11. We've got more video footage.
I'll play that to the viewing.
There's lots of shouting.
And there were, I mean, the shouting was a little bit more heated than that from what I see, but there's obviously a lot of emotions that are in
the update from Nick Morton at 27 minutes past 11, which was about 5 minutes ago. It says here, one activist just shouted from the roof, the peaceful occupation of the Bank of England continues. And then about within the same minute, lots of heated shouting from both the bank and the opposite side of the road, where a large group are gathered. About 4 minutes ago, police are now trying to disperse people from the streets.
It is Emma Fielding.
It's actually it's I'm a bit out because my clock is running slow. It's about just gone midnight. Current scene of the Bank of this is at 25 to 12.
Oh, this is absolutely disgraceful. At 11:38, guys, police taking names from activists on opposite side of the road from bank and dispersing them. Still lots of angry shouting, but less people around now. That was a minute later. A lot quieter now, but still a lot of shouting from the bank. This was at 10 to 12. Oh, look, the muscle is there. The muscle of the Matrix. Right there.
12:04. It says not much happening now. That's police here now, all quiet from the activists. About 8 minutes to 12, all the activists outside the bank and across the road have dispersed now, stood around 14 meters in front of the bank. Really and truly, I think the police really, they need to keep a low profile.
Well, there's something there that says about 12 officers out of there now. To be quite truthful, I mean, from the video imagery I'm seeing here, there's a lot more than just 12 officers outside there, to be quite truthful. But
as long as they stay and they remain peaceful, they do not start engaging in what I call thuggery or muppetry, where they start doing things they're not supposed to do. I mean, it kind of compares them with one of Jim Henson's Muppets. It's like which has more intelligence, the Matrix or the Muppets. When a police officer starts abusing their powers, it does raise the question: are they behaving like a police officer or a human being, or are they behaving like a Muppet, or does the Muppet have more intelligence? They do need to be very, very careful, because the way they behave so far, they're coming very, very near to getting themselves kind of a one-way ticket to the job centre. I'm being serious. Those officers.
I know you are. It's just how you came out with that, mate. I mean, I thought, yeah, they probably will be taking their P45 and trotting off, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, they should not be taking names of people, because it begs the question as to whether or not the dispersal order was lawful or not, whether the way they went about it was lawful or not. I mean, they will claim it was. The onus is on them to prove it. And I think if this goes into court, yes, it could well be a case of, well, can you prove that you are acting lawfully? I think this press photographer is the one who I think is really going to sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons and really kind of force it out of the police. Right, what the hell did you think you were doing, and what right and what power and what circumstances were you using to justify your actions? And if you've got a half decent district judge or a deputy district judge or even a half decent bench of justices, and they put the police to strict proof, the police, I think, are going to be wanting, they're going to have a job trying to justify their actions. And if that's the case, then there are going to be serious, very serious questions asked. Are the police out of control? Are the Matrix out of control? should the assistant chief constables, the deputy chief constable, or the chief constable, all of them resign, or should the police and crime commissioner for Merseyside do what really needs doing, and that's to sack a lot of them. If they have the power to do that, and if they haven't badly handled it, they should be sacked.
Here's something for all the viewers as well. We've just got some imagery. I've just been looking at this article from the Liverpool Echo. Do you know what? For a news outlet that, I mean, I'm usually quite, you know, look, this is propaganda. This to me isn't propaganda. They've got a nice bit of imagery there from the bank. I mean, them cameras are pretty epic to get that high up. I mean, the zoom must be. And there's one of our pals there, Michael, Glory Hunter.
Yes. Well, I think we could say by the look of it, that gentleman there was doing his X-Men impersonation from the balcony there. Yeah, I think that's that independent press photographer. I mean, the police standing around trying to cover up what's going on. I mean, we can see this person here, which I would say is a police.
Michael, there's a lot of people here, so just so I'm pointing more specifically, the lady that was arrested, you mean?
Yeah, if you look at this cameraman on the left of the picture, that is a police officer. Because if you look at underneath his shirt, he has a taser. You can see the gun butt.
Oh, yeah.
So I would like to know. Yeah, I'd like to know what the hell he is doing with what appears to be a gun, a firearm, because a taser normally has a black handle and it's not shaped like a gun. Because that could be. I mean, I could be wrong. That could be something on the ground, but it looks remarkably like a gun.
Oh, you mean on this guy here?
No, it's the guy on the far left of the picture.
This one. It's got a yellow handle. I mean.
Well, that's a taser.
That is a taser. I mean, you can see.
And he's got a camera. So what the hell's he doing with a taser? But there's also something else sticking out here.
They're all crowding round. So they're
crowding round because they know damn well what they're doing is illegal. This is a tactic they use. If they know what's being done is illegal, they will then try and crowd around to stop people seeing them assaulting and using illegal tactics. I can see in a minute that they're going to do this, and people are going to pull them out of the way and say, right, okay, if you've got nothing to hide, why are you trying to hide that? The police aren't going to like it, but I'm sorry, but if they are going to behave in a criminal manner, then they'll be treated like that. I mean, look at this. They have got her on her front. That is not a recognised Home Office control and restraint tactic.
I mean, that guy, we can tell by the hand that's a man, and he's got it right on her buttock.
Well, no, if you look at that, he's actually got it on her upper thigh. The trouble is, you've got the femoral artery there. That is very, very dangerous. Also, she's on her front. They're putting pressure on her back. That can cause asphyxiation. People have died in police custody.
Yep.
Because of that. Now, that is a very dangerous restraint, and also they've got their arms pinned back as well. Not necessary at all. There are more passive means of doing that. I was taught these when I joined the Ministry of Defence Police. Yes, they cause you a bit of pain, but not to that sort of extent.
Well, she looks in agony here. I mean, I don't know whether
that is use of excessive force. Those officers should be suspended.
I don't know whether we've got a. You see on the floor here. I could be just speculating here. Well, I am speculating. I can't obviously.
There is a patch by that young lady's
face here.
I'm wondering. I can't see any blood coming from her mouth, but
probably from her head or something.
We don't know how violent the police were.
We've got going back to this other image. We've got a very blurred. Yeah. We can make that out to be a 4-1. I don't know whether that's 9-9 or 0-9. but I'm trying to make it out.
Well, the first figure is a 4.
There's a 1 definitely.
Yeah.
So we have a badge number, guys, of someone antagonising a member of what looks like a member of the Love activists, and this guy doesn't. To me, he doesn't look confrontational at all. I mean, I don't know what you think, Michael. He doesn't look.
I mean, the police try to. I mean, if people are non-confrontational, they'll still brutalise them, and I mean, when the police start doing that, they've completely lost all credibility.
And there's the lady again that we.
They were kind of bending her over. That's not an acceptable method of restraint. It's also very dangerous because it can dislocate the shoulders. It's also dangerous because it constricts the diaphragm and can cause respiratory distress, which is when the person's breathing their diaphragm goes into spasm and they can't breathe properly.
I mean,
it's very, very dangerous. I would like to know who it was who has been teaching them these dangerous restraint techniques. I mean, the restraint techniques I was taught in the Mets, they weren't brutish, but they were using a technique called the hammer, lock, and bar. And the trouble is, it broke a few people's arms, and they had to stop using it. What I was taught with the Ministry of Defence Police was it was based on Aikido, and it uses wrist locks. It's much better, and you've got more control over them with a minimum amount of force.
Absolutely. I mean, this lady here, she looks like she's been sort of rugged about, and this guy, he's probably, I mean, it's my opinion here, I mean, they both look like they are absolutely loving this, to be quite truthful.
There are enough. The trouble is, you'll find a lot of them are these PSUs.
Look at this woman here with a taser, Michael.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. There's another one as well on the left-hand side. I can see another taser in another officer's pocket.
Where can you see this?
Opposition not be issued with tasers at all. There's no need for it. The taser was originally issued to firearms trained officers as an alternative to using rifles. It was to stop what they called suicide by cop. And it was to stop those sort of incidents, but unfortunately the taser is being misused. One thing they have found out is every time a jolt is sent through somebody, it doubles their white blood cell count. It's dangerous.
Shame on you, Merseyside Police. You've actually been out.
It's more than shame on them. It's I'm gonna say this as a retired police officer to the Chief Constable of Merseyside Police. You had better have some very good explanations waiting for the public and also for the Police and Crime Commissioner. And I'm also going to put this appeal out to the Police and Crime Commissioner for Merseyside. The public, you are there to represent the public, and the public expect you to get straight answers from the Chief Constable of Merseyside Police and to hold him and his other senior officers to account, and the officers of the Merseyside Police Matrix to account. And if you fail to do that, then you shall resign along with the Chief Constable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even here, this lady's like this lady that's clearly distressed. I mean, obviously, I mean, you're not going to be happy about being arrested, but the way they pinned her up, and then look, she's got her hand and dragging her off. Like, look at the way, that's almost by the scruff of the neck and pulling up.
It's not that is not acceptable. I mean, there are ways of getting somebody into a van and restraining them using a lot less force. This is just pure brutality. That's all it is. And
the image that we have. Oh look, the muscle of Merseyside right there.
Yes, kind of being showered with toilet roll. Yeah, they must remind them when they go do football duty at Anfield or Everton.
I think they're going to need that for when certain things happen.
I don't think they will need that. They'll probably need to explain to the job to do the centre plus why they've why they suddenly find themselves unemployed. Because I mean, if Section 26 is used, it'll be a case of either, well, you can either choose prosecution or you can choose resignation or the sack. Take your choice. I mean, at least if they're sacked, they can probably go for other jobs, depending whether they're employable or not.
Another job in regards to the. I mean, after this, they surely can't be messing around here. Surely, hang on. Let me just see if there's any more updates for our lovely viewers. They're saying it's not much happening. So the independent officer or the independent press there, and I think these guys at Liverpool Echo. I mean, I've got to take my hat off to you to stand there and take them pictures and imagery. You know, it's I think it's pretty brave of them, to be quite honest, especially with them with tasers and everything else. You know, it's just so shocking. I mean, I'm just seeing some of these images as well on other social media outlet, and it's just I'm shocked. I mean, shocking stuff that these people have been given these powers. You know.
Although Parliament has given them powers, Parliament is supposed to be a representative cross section of those who vote the politicians into power. The politicians have prostituted themselves to the banks and the City of London, and they have completely lost the trust of the people. And I'm going to put in this: we are going to be in for some major surprises at the general election. I would not be surprised if there is another general election before the autumn.
I reckon. Would you be tempted to say that this perhaps has gone a little bit too far gone?
Sorry?
Is it a fair comment to say that this has actually gone too far? Not just with this particular event, but all together. Have we gone too far as the police?
Well, I mean, they're trying to slide in a police state, but they'll only do that if the people let them. If the people start standing up and saying, no, you're not going to do it, and we're going to stop you, the police might try and ramp things up. But the thing is, if you've got people who are legally savvy, they're going to run rings around the police and the CPS.
I think
what will be the turning? What will be the sort of turning point is when people say, right, we can't trust you anymore. We don't trust you anymore. We're setting up our own courts. We're appointing our own law enforcers. You're finished. That's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's there was one UK column episode there. They said something about judges or something about setting up their own kind of group. I mean, I can't quite remember what they said now. I mean, it's
right. Well, there is a court in Brussels called the International Commonwealth Court of Justice. There's also the International Court of Justice. The International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court is the International War Crimes Tribunal, which was set up. I think it's in 2009. It's set up in the early part of the 21st century. The International War Crimes Tribunal was set up specifically to deal with the war criminals from the Second World War. It still exists in the Netherlands. It's in The Hague. But the International War Crimes the International Criminal Court was set up to deal with war crimes like the Balkans, Serbia, Yugoslavia, Rwanda, the Congo, things like that. And that's what they were set up to deal with. The International Commonwealth Court of Justice, which is also in Brussels, that was set up to deal with crimes by the state against individuals, notably paedophilia by the church, crimes against humanity, because there although there is the European Court of Human Rights, there's no International Court of Human Rights. And after the attempts that have been made in this country and also in America, I can see there being an International Court of Human Rights to stop this ever happening again. We are going through very, very testing times when you've got a cabal who seem hell bent on enslaving everyone and for sliding this sort of fascist Marxist dictatorship. I don't think they're going to succeed because there's too many people who know too much.
Michael. Sorry to interrupt there. Speaking of knowing too much, this is something that I've just pulled up from the Merseyside Police website for the city centre, because obviously they divide, obviously because Liverpool is such a big city. I mean, obviously they divide themselves into areas and they obviously have their own beat, as it were. This is from my understanding of what I've read here. And it says in Liverpool city centre, we've actually got the inspector's name. Shall I pull that up actually? Because it actually names and shames these this corruption, doesn't it, to be quite truthful. I don't know whether it's exactly, but it says city centre local policing team on it. So I'll pull this up and give you guys that are viewing obviously something to have a look at as well. Something to keep your eye out on as well. Inspector Stephen Hardy, and it even says here, I am the neighbourhood inspector for Liverpool City neighbourhood. Don't know what you make of this, Jen. There's this picture there. It's got like 5 or 6 pages, guys. I'll even share this on the Unity Peace Patrol News Facebook outlet.
A lot of police forces have got these. They've got these neighbourhood teams. This is the way they do it. It's called sector policing. And the Ministry of Defence Police were using sector policing long before the Home Office forces were.
People's like full names here. I mean, it says you're dedicated constable. What are you dedicated to? Corruption and the corporations, or are you dedicated?
No, you know what it is. I mean, what it is these neighbourhood teams. They basically they just work within a particular area. I mean, if we take the city of Plymouth, it's divided into 2 sectors, north and south, and then another sector that deals with the kind of satellite towns of Plymstock and Clinton. Within those sectors, you will have neighbourhood teams who police that particular neighbourhood. People get to know them. The ones where I am, a very good team. The PCSOs are very good indeed. And I mean that, they're very good.
Yeah, no, I'd never ever say that like all police officers are corrupt or anything like that. I mean, I recognise a couple of these faces as it goes, in the especially this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a familiarity, and maybe I've just seen that face or a face like it.
Your Chinese liaison officer, I take it that means he spends most of his time down the Chinese takeaway.
Bringing back the Chinese. And the sergeant.
Yes, number 33, please.
But oh God,
Chinese chop suey with beef.
You're a terrible influence, Mr. O. I'm telling you.
I know. You gotta inject a bit of humour. I mean, with that, I mean, he's probably had the mickey taken out of him left, right, and centre by his colleagues. They're probably handing him Chinese takeaway menus saying, "Well, you're the Chinese liaison officer. Could you go and get us a 10% discount?" he's probably had that. I mean, you usually find police officers when they're kind of given special titles that they will have the mickey take. It's part of the banter you get between police officers. They will take the mickey out of each other mercilessly. I mean, crash a police car. You really do get the mickey taken out of you. I mean, I can remember one who managed the car overturned as they were going round a corner on an emergency call. It wasn't the officer's fault, actually. It was a design fault for the car. And some of the things that were being said, oh, by the way, so-and-so, you do realise you drive the car with its wheels on the road. you don't drive it on its roof.
With this bit of info that I've got, that I'm putting on Unity Peace Patrol News social media outlet, am I correct in assuming that inspector would actually be responsible for what happened tonight as well as the chief constable? I'm just assuming. If that's an area.
Well, that inspector would be what they call Bronze Command. There would be a more senior officer would be the well. When you've got things like this, you've got 3 levels of command: golds, bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze is the one off the ground. Your silver command are the more senior officer, like a superintendent or a chief superintendent or an assistant chief constable on a major operation. And then further up, the gold command is normally going to be somewhere around the rank of an assistant chief constable or even a chief constable, the chief constable themselves. It appears to me with this operation, there was an inspector on the ground. They were the bronze command. Earlier on, you had the chief superintendent. They would have been the silver command. They would have been answering to probably an assistant chief constable back at Merseyside Police Headquarters, and they would have been gold command.
Do you believe that maybe the assistant chief? I mean, I'm not protecting. I mean, I'm obviously trying to keep a very unbiased view of this, despite my own personal opinion. When I say that perhaps somewhere's been misled, because obviously you don't want, I mean, it's like when you're a child and you broke mum's vase, you know what I mean, and you're like, oh no, brother or sister done it, you know what I mean, to try and get yourself out of the brown stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, it's a bit like that at times.
Seems that way, like, oh well. It's like like I say, that child that broke mum's favourite vase, you know. Oh, he did it, she did it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you sometimes get that, but I mean, I think the way they brutalised that independent press photographer, that is a big mistake. Do not ever attack the media. They can be your best friend, but they can also be your worst enemy.
I think they're definitely.
They made whoever ordered that person to be arrested made a serious error of judgment. And I've got a feeling that is going to have repercussions, and I've got a feeling that inspector is going to get a massive bollocking over this.
Well, even if it is Inspector Stephen Hardy, but it does ultimately fall down on Chief Constable Sir John Murphy, QPM.
Yeah, the buck stops with the Chief Constable. They're the one in charge of the force. They're the one who carries the can if things go seriously wrong. If officers do something, I mean, with the Metropolitan Police, when Ian Tomlinson was killed by that brutal officer, it was the commissioner who had to answer for it. And I think that was Okino then. So yes, it would be the chief officer of that particular force who has to answer for it. There's no one. They cannot sort of shift the blame onto anyone higher up the tree. They are the person in charge of that force. They are the person who has to explain to the police authority, or the Police and Crime Commission, the public, what happened, and why it happened, and what they're going to do to make sure it never happens again.
It's shocking. It really, I mean, I'm genuinely surprised at the violence. I mean, I don't know whether anyone agrees with me or agrees with what's happened. But I mean, obviously the people that are obviously not awake enough yet, but they will be awake when something really, really, I mean, these police officers or constables, I'm not going to say the other word that we use for another another one of our favourite characters that is around. Yeah, I mean, once it happens to you, you're going to be waking up, and it's going to be waking up with a cold bucket. It's like a cold bucket of ice, guys, that gets thrown over you, and you can't stop it. Once it's happened to you, that's it. And I would never ever want to be woken up like that, to be quite truthful. I mean, when I first woke up, when I first started waking up. I remember that. I remember that day very well. You know, I mean, I was quite shocked. I was surprised. I was like, "This, the government wouldn't do that to me. The police wouldn't do that to me. Oh no, surely not." Weren't I mistaken? I mean, I don't know about you, Michael. Like, with about awakening to what's actually cracking, what's going on with the system. But the thing is, the cracks are indeed showing.
Oh, I mean, the cracks are getting bigger and bigger. I mean, as people wake up, they're waking others up. It's like they say for every one person, they'll wake up 10, those 10 will wake up another 10, and then those 10 wake up another. It just mushrooms, and it's called networking, and the word soon gets around, and you will find that once the word gets around enough people, that's when you get a situation called takedown. The people are in a position to take down a government. They're empowered. They can take down a government. They can take down a council. They can take down a police force. And they can take down.
What they have. It doesn't matter about their little toys that they have. I mean, I remember watching a video with a very well-known character that has his own cause in regards to his family member. Anyway, she actually asked. Well, this gentleman actually asked a police officer, "So why have you got a taser then?" And it's actually on camera, and it's actually all over social media outlet as well. And she said, "Because I want to." That's not an attitude. I mean, because I want to is not an attitude of any police officer. Surely not, Michael.
No, I mean they shouldn't even be. They should not be issued with tasers at all. The only ones that should be issued with tasers are firearms trained officers who undergo psychological assessments every 6 months to make sure they are psychologically sound and balanced to handle a firearm or handle a firearms incident. Unfortunately, what you've got, you are issuing officers a Section 5 firearm, which that person may not be psychologically stable enough to use that. And I mean, all you've got to do is look at these observational documentary police shows on PIC TV, and you see officers using tasers or threatening to use tasers inappropriately. I mean, there was one Devon Cornwall police officer was drunk. The guy was saying, "No, I'm going home." I mean, he wasn't being violent, wasn't being confrontational. And this officer decided to pull out a taser and said, "Oh, if you don't stop wanting a taser," the bloke goes, generally goes, "You're a fucking wanker." He said, "Go on, taser me, you twat." You could see the copper knew damn well he shouldn't have done what he did. Because I mean, the guy's parting shot was, "You wait, I'm going to bloody have you for this. I'm going to be straight on to your bloody boss in the morning." I mean, yes, you got this constable trying to big it up, and oh yeah, well he was doing this, and yeah, well I wouldn't be surprised if that guy did with his superintendent the following morning and said, "Excuse me, one of your constables threatened me with a taser," and it's on film. So you can imagine what happened with that. But the thing is, there is inappropriate use of tasers. There was an incident in Plymouth where a guy was set on fire. He was taken in like a fuel, and the idiot pulled the taser, and off he went, died from third-degree burns in hospital.
It's shocking. I mean, I did. I mean, you were there on the broadcast when I did that video. Well, not video. It was an article. Sorry, of the gentleman that actually passed away. When he was only visiting friends, you know, like going to see a friend for a drink, for a drink with friends, you know, and you just think you could innocently go out and never come back.
Yeah, you see, Ian Tomlinson, he just finished his job as a news seller, and he was walking home, and of course this officer who was had been resigned from another force he just suddenly pushed him for no reason. Unfortunately, the injury was enough to cause internal injuries to Ian Tomlinson. He walked around the corner and collapsed, and unfortunately, it's something that should never have happened. And I've got a feeling that they did find that the screening process had been insufficient in that officer's case. When they found out that, the press found out that there had been issues with him in Surrey Constabulary, and you think, why the hell weren't the Met told, or didn't they make inquiries to see whether this person was suitable, whether they were psychologically balanced?
This is something I was going to say as well. Have you got any advice for these love activists at the Bank of Love? Would there be any advice that you would give if they were to use such I can't describe it other than acts, you know?
If they try to use tasers, don't pick up the near sheet of metal because it will conduct the electricity. The best thing to use is wood or fabric, because the fabric and wood will not conduct electricity because they're organic. So if they do try to taser people, just shove a bit of wood up so the barbs go straight into the wood or the fabric and not into your skin. That's the best way to deal with the taser. If any violence is
not encouraging people to use these blocks of wood just to try and.
They should only be used for defence. If they start threatening with tasers, the best thing to do is shoot a wood in front of you. So if they're going to fire the barbs, they cannot use it like a shield. Don't use it in a defensive way. Don't use it in an offensive way. If the police are on the offensive, you're on the defensive. It does make very bad on the police. Because if they go with riot shields, you're entitled to defend yourself as well from any form of attack which is unjustifiable.
What do you think?
I would say yes. If you've got a sheet like a sheet of cardboard or something like that, and they go with a taser, stop pointing at you, and then you've got the sheet of cardboard, hold it up in front of you, so they haven't got a very good, and keep moving about, so they obviously they haven't got a target. So once they realise they haven't got a target, they're gonna get fed up and stop pointing the taser at it. But you will have other idiots who'll try to get in the sights and taser you. This is where going into a huddle, like I've seen them do this in old documentaries on the ancient armies, like the Romans and the other armies like that. They kind of go into a huddle. You get two on each side. It was like a square. Very difficult. You've got these big long shields. Very difficult to kind of use it and kind of shoot at them, shoot arrows or bullets or anything like that. So yes, they want to use some tactics from thousands of years ago. It might come in actually very handy.
Yeah, see, I'm gutted that I can't get up there until Sunday. That's when I'll be going up if there is any other action that is going off. If they don't need anyone, then obviously I'll have my notification and whatever. But if there is any need for people to get up there and sort of get assistance, then at the present moment, I don't think there is any need for assistance from what I'm getting from the person that I've had a message from. I even asked, is there anything you want me to do? Is there any sort of anything you need me to shout out about? And he said, nope, all's good here. Well, he actually just said the word no, but I'm just presuming that no news is good news for now. Obviously, this is obviously going to change because this is quite a vastly tense situation.
There's a standoff, yes.
Yeah.
But the police have to realise that they will achieve more if they don't resort to violence.
This is what I mean. This is all we want is a reasonable kind of.
You don't get anywhere using violence. All you do is just wind the people up. You also wind others up, and before you know it, you have got a full-blown riot. Or the other thing you'll get is the locals will just say, sod you lot, just piling and going with the protesters. This is one of the things that police chiefs have got to be very, very aware of. If you're, a good operational commander in the police. I had the privilege of serving under a chief superintendent who was a brilliant operational commander, especially on large operations. And he would tell us, do not go on the offensive, because if you do that, you will bring possible injury. They may start throwing missiles at you. Keep it peaceful and let them just disperse on their way. And it was a tactic that worked, because we would just stand there, kind of often with the right shield kind of down kind of on our side. We'd be talking to them, say, possibly through a fence or something like that. And we would not get into what we would call a confrontational situation. Once you engage with people and try to find out what they're actually protesting about, and try to understand what they're protesting about, then you got that sort of engagement. It distracts them from doing anything violent, but also it makes them feel they're listened to as well. And sometimes you can get intelligence and find out exactly what it is that is making the protest. So yes, it serves it. That superintendent, chief superintendent, unfortunately, he died within a few months of retiring. I believe he had a massive heart attack and died, very sadly. But he was a brilliant commander. The operations I can remember he did, never ever did we have any arrests. It was always kept peaceful. And
what we need, Michael.
We used to come out with pretty good intelligence. We'd find out exactly what it was that was getting the protesters backed up. We could then pass that through and say, right, well, this is why they're protesting. And we'd often find that they didn't want violence. They just wanted to keep it peaceful. So what they do is they'd scale it up. But you get protesters, if anything's kicked off, you could see them walking away, and they'd say, we're not with that one. And they'd isolate troublemakers, and then we go in, and of course then we find out these people were undercover security services and police, and they've got some aggressions that they start getting up with, what bloody hell do you think you're doing, you idiot? You're putting us at risk, you're putting the public at risk, get the hell out of here, or how do you take you in? I don't know the hell the government think they're playing up by doing things like that. This is how people get killed.
This is how people get, killed, seriously injured.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all because of some fantasist in a government office somewhere in Whitehall or off Whitehall, who seems to think, oh, we can do that and we can do this, and we don't have to comply with the law. Well, the law's there to protect everyone, and it's there to be obeyed by everyone, and that means the police have to obey it, and so do the civil servants, and so do the politicians. No one is above the law.
No one is above the law, which actually brings me on to the Magna Carta, if I can actually bring it up. I don't know whether it's going to do it. Here we go. The Magna Carta, or it's called the Great Charter in the actual is the actual name, isn't it? It's translated from Latin into English. Translated from Latin to English, I do apologise. It's just the last final thing of the Magna Carta. This is Magna Carta 1215. It actually says here, abuses by King John caused a revolt by nobles. I'm just seeing if this actually did go out to everyone here. I'm just making sure of that. If you guys can see it. Can you see that now, Michael?
Yes.
Cool. Right. It says abuses by King John caused a revolt by nobles, who compelled him to execute this recognition of rights for both noblemen and ordinary Englishmen. It established the principle that no one, including king or a lawmaker, is above the law. As I say, the proof is in the pudding.
He's no, not King John. It's King Cameron.
Yeah, well, it's like this Robin Hood, you know, with the well, they're robbing from the poor to feed the rich.
Oh, that's that one. I can. Now you say robbing from the poor to give to the rich. That reminds me of a amusing sketch on the Monty Python Flying Circus. There was this character, this comic character called Dennis Moore, and he was a highwayman who rode around on this horse and held up carriages, and he'd steal loopings from the passengers in these carriages. And there was a verse in it. It was Dennis Moore riding through the swamp, and then it came to a line. He robs from the poor and he gives to the rich, stupid bitch. But that was Monty Python. They used to really lampoon things. I think what they were trying to do is kind of lampoon Dick Turpin in that one, but no, you get these rather sort of risque sort of. But it's just that if John Cleese actually with the mask on, and when he said, "If you rob from the poor and gives to the rich, stupid bitch," you kind of go, "What was that you said?"
See, I'm just gonna. Do you reckon with this GCHQ, this is something else I was gonna say about social media before we wrapped up, Michael? GCHQ, for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's the basic outline of that. From what I understand, they're government spies. That's all my understanding is of them, to be quite honest. So they're government trolls, and I take it this is what my impression is of it. They're government trolls and they're government spies.
There are also some very they're also trying to disrupt people from finding things out, which is very, very silly. I mean, their original role was to spy on the Americans and the Russians during the Cold War. What they found the Americans were doing is they were spying on British companies, committing espionage and stealing commercial secrets from British companies.
So, like, for instance, a big fast food chain, for instance, just to use that as an example. So, say one, so it's industrial espionage, basically. That's what
GCHQ was doing is they were spying on the Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew the Americans were spying on the Brits. They were trying to filch commercial secrets, state secrets, military intelligence, things like that, which the British government didn't want the Americans to get their hands on because of the way they behave. And GCHQ really they were spying on the Americans, spying on what they were up to, but also keeping an eye on the Soviet bloc as well. But unfortunately, now there's no need. The Cold War is over. It means that you would have all these employees from GCHQ suddenly going onto the jobs market. Oh, so what do we do? Oh, well, let's stop this New World Order nonsense and employ them to spy. And I'll tell you something, if people find out that anybody works at GCHQ, well, unfortunately, I can see bricks going through windows. I can see them being beaten up on the street. I think eggs thrown at them. This is something the politicians know is going to happen, but they don't kind of stop and think. Should we really be doing this? Oh well, no. If they get injured or they get killed, just collateral damage. That's how psychopathic they are. That's why we don't need this current brand of MPs, and we need to tell the MPs, sorry, if you're not you either serve us or you don't serve as MPs. You can't have two masters. Stop treating us as you the master, we the serfs. Yeah, you're the servants, we're the masters.
See, my best advice, obviously, about if you do suspect that anyone on any social media outlet group or like page or anything like that, my best advice to you would be to come forward to the admin of that page or group or social media and just say, this is my reasoning, I've got reason to suspect, and leave that for the admin or the page owner or whatever to make their own investigations, because obviously you just can't go on sheer allegations here. They have to make certain, they obviously, I mean, investigation, I mean, there's not much investigation you can do, is there, Michael? Or would they just have to keep watching what they're doing and watching what they're saying, basically?
Well, this is GCHQ, or is this what's happening in Liverpool this evening? I was looking at something on another. I was going back to see if there's been any update of what's going on at Liverpool not at the moment.
No, I don't think there is. This was about GCHQ, and what my best advice would be to anyone, if they do suspect, if there is someone that you feel is an antagonizer, because that's what they do. They they put little bits of doubt into your mind, and it is very, very subtle that they would do this. Or sometimes it can be just outright out there, can't it? I mean, we've seen it. I've seen it on a couple of social media outlets myself, and
yeah, you've got these common purpose graduates, as they like to call themselves. They're actually members of common purpose. They're the agitators. They're the ones causing a lot of the aggravation in the communities. And what people need to do is they need to get wise to these individuals. And once they've identified them, I mean, don't turn on them. Just wait for them to do something else that's really stupid, and then just grab them and call the police and say, right, this person has been causing aggravation. We've got the evidence here. Take them in. If they're in social housing, get them removed, which the social animals can do.
See, what is it? If there is, obviously, say, for instance, on a group on social media or anything like that, what I was saying there was my best advice I could give to them is to try and sort of have a little word with the admin or the group or
yeah, I mean, there's trolls. I mean, there are trolls that infiltrate the social media, especially the help groups, and they will try and break them up and try and disrupt them. I mean, if you get any of these trolls on there, like Stacey said, go to the admins on that particular group, say, look, this is what's happening. They can then investigate, and if necessary, they can remove these trolls very quickly.
A very good and balanced person that is on any admin team on these self-help groups, because that's what I mean. We don't do all the walking for you. You know, you got to kind of do some kind of legwork yourselves, but we give you a pointer in the right direction. And what these people do is like they, for instance, I mean, I remember a post very well where I was helping out a young lady and people were giving her the wrong advice, and I actually had to say, stop giving the wrong advice, and if my advice is wrong, then I will be corrected by the administrators on this group. And an administrator actually said, no, you've given we've got no problem with that, with what you've said, so just just listen to her and make sure that you're not going to be, and anyone that is giving bad advice, stop. And they were saying, oh, you should go and get, this is just a prime example of what they actually do. They do all the sheeple movement and say, go get jobs, you're all in debt for your own reasons, stop being, was it benefit scroungers is a good one. They like to antagonize as well. I mean, I don't discriminate anyone that's on benefits. They've got their own reasons, but at the same time, you know, it's quite despicable that these people do that. I mean, we're all human beings at the end of the day, Michael. This is the way I look at it.
That's right, we are. I mean, we're all human beings. We all going to live on the same planet. We've all got to live. We're all going to live together. And we're going to live in peace and harmony. I mean, you will always get those who've got different ideas and want to sort of cause antagonize and cause wars. I mean, we know who causes the wars. It's the bankers, so they can make more money. I mean, the trouble is they're so, it's so ingrained in their sort of behaviour. They think they're invincible. I mean, during the 1990s and the 2000s, what were they calling themselves? Masters of the universe. They're not masters of the universe. They're complete and utter psychopaths.
So have you got a message for these GCHQ to wrap this up? Our little friends in Merseyside Police. If anyone's listening that is in Merseyside Police, I'll probably meet you all on Sunday, and we'll have a banter.
Yes, and another thing I'd like to say to Merseyside Police, I mean, if you'd like us to do a sort of a masterclass on this programme about Section 26 of the Police and Criminal Justice and Courts Act, just drop us a line and we'll set up a masterclass so you can learn about it, and then perhaps you'll stop senior officers doing some really silly things.
And your silly acts have been shared on social media. And
as for GCHQ, do yourselves a favour, get a decent job.
I don't mean it seriously, Michael, but I have to laugh. I'm so sorry. It's just so funny.
I'm afraid it is true, because I think once I've got a feeling GCHQ will be closed down. It'll be closed down a lot sooner than many people think. I mean, they seem to think, you've got these New World Order fantasists seem to think, we'll always need to keep an eye on people, make sure they're not trying to disrupt it. I know that unfortunately there's too many people know. Once that New World Order, those nutters are taken down, I'm afraid I can see the bulldozers going straight into Cheltenham, bulldozing the building, which will race to the ground.
Yeah.
So they can't, and I can also see the equipment inside being, obviously a lot of it has got heavy metals in it because obviously it's electronic, so those they have to be taken away and disposed of safely, because if heavy metal gets into the water table, it can contaminate it. So obviously they'll have to be taken away and safely disposed of. But I can see the building being completely razed to the ground by a demolition crew. So there's no trace left of it, and I think they need to build on it fairly quickly. Build something useful like housing on the site. So there's no traces left of what it was used for, and then it's put to a kind of a more sort of acceptable and a more socially useful use, instead of spying on people.
I know. I mean, I would think get a life. But if we ever do a masterclass, I think that would definitely be something in the pipeline. When we do go out on air, I might share it to a couple of the police forces pages.
Well, we do know. It is known that there are members of the constabulary who do tune in to social media and what they call the alternative media privately, and they record the shows and share them. If they want to do it with these, if they want us to organise a class in Section 26 or how to interpret things properly, if they drop us a line, like I said, if they drop us a line, we can set it up and we can teach them how the law should be properly administered and how it fits in with other laws. Because these laws are not standalone; they have to be taken and read in conjunction with other laws as well, in order to get it right. You try to apply a legal provision standalone, you could actually be making a rob for your back. You could also seriously compromise an operation. You could violate human rights, and then find yourself in very serious trouble. You could find yourself facing an indictment for misconduct in public office, and that could mean either prison or immediate dismissal. And if you get sacked for something like misconduct in public office, the chances of you ever getting paid in public again are virtually zero. So, we're extending, like I said, we're extending the offer to individual police officers, the peace officers. If you would like us to kind of explain Section 26 to to you. I mean, let us know if there's a decent number. We can set one up, or we can dedicate a program to Section 26. You can record it and then distribute it to your colleagues as you wish.
Exactly, and I think with any suggestions that anybody's got, I think even if it's just anything that you guys want us to broadcast for the next showing, the actual next planned showing, because this was done, Michael, I said at about 11:15. I think I'm going to do a broadcast. Do you fancy coming on? I rang you and you were like, yeah, no problem. But
here we are at 25 to 2 on a Friday morning.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. We've got a couple of new subscribers, so welcome. And thanks everybody for listening. We've got a contact email address of Unity Patrol Broadcast, that's all one word, at gmail.com if you have any articles that you feel would be relevant or you feel would be sort of beneficial to us, then please obviously send a quick email, tap in, or come on to the Unity Peace Patrol news. I will quickly pull that up before we decide to definitely wrap up. I've been saying about wrapping up for the past half an hour, but we are peaceful people. We're not going to be we're not going to judge or anything like that, or I mean, let me just get this screen shared. But yeah, we're a good bunch of people, especially if you have any issues. I'd suggest going to get advice from any of the bailiffs in the banks. Stand for Common Law, that's one that's on Facebook. This is the page we have here. And Don't Keep Calm, It's Time to Wake Up. I think that's definitely one. And there's tissue money that I took up to Tom Crawford's last time I was up there. Just to throw at the bailiffs, to be quite honest. That's my way. Just throw tissue money at them. To be quite honest, that's my little bit of rebellion. Yeah, so there's the page. I'm having what I affectionately call a brain fart, Michael.
Yes, I think I've had a few of those in the last 5 minutes. I think it's called burning the midnight oil or burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all, but it's all been a quite tense situation. I just keep watching on here on social media. We haven't had any updates, so they're probably doing what we should be doing. And all you viewers out there, viewers and listeners that are on here, we should be heading off for giving it the old Zeds, or as I call it, giving the pillow head. Have you got any additional thoughts, Michael, before we go off air?
All I'm going to say is good night, GCHQ. Hope you enjoyed it.
Well, they were probably the only listeners.
Well, yeah, any police officers who've been listening to this, like I said, if you want us to run a dedicated show to Section 26 of the Criminal Justice Courts Act, get in touch, let us know, we'll set it up. The other thing I've just thought of is there's been a number of incidents in the recent past where police officers have unlawfully and in some cases illegally assisted certificated bailiffs to gain entry to houses, much in breach of the law. Now, there is case law which makes it totally illegal for a police officer to do that. Now, what I'm going to try, my speciality is civil enforcement malfeasance. What I'm going to try and do is put together perhaps a show with Stacey to cover the subject of bailiffs and what bailiffs do, some of the stunts they will pull, the way they'll mislead the police into doing their bidding, and quite often putting the police in a situation where the police officers' jobs are on the line. In situations where officers have been handed copies of Section 26, their faces drained of colour. They came to the door with a nice rosy red face, and they go away looking like they've just seen a ghost. So you can just imagine that from that Section 26 has quite a sobering effect. As an ex-policeman, I don't want to see serving officers lose their jobs because they've been taken in by somebody who is no more than a thug. There are some decent bailiffs around. They know who they are. I've got no problem with them, but it's the thugs and the cheats that really and truly that serving officers do need to watch out for, because these people have sold their own grandmothers, and they'll sell you down the river. They don't give a shit if you get sent to prison or whether you lose your jobs, as long as you get the money. That's all they're after. So if you want us to do that, get in touch. We'll arrange for a program dedicated to that particular subject.
Absolutely. We've got a few things in the pipeline, haven't we, Michael? We're just toying with a few ideas, which
we're just kind of sort of knocking it into shape, and obviously when it's ready, we'll let people know.
Absolutely. The scheduled broadcast for Sunday is going to be about the quite inspiration. I say quite. I mean, I'm understating that. Tom Crawford. We are having a final countdown of this coming out. This is tomorrow. If anyone can get to Nottingham, it's at 3 Fern Chase in Nottingham. If anyone needs any postcodes or anything like that, I'll just pull that up quickly.
I think they've said be there about 9:30, haven't they?
Yes. Don't get there any earlier, guys, because obviously the neighbours, and to park responsibly. Park responsibly if you are going to be at the house. This is credit to Mr. Sutcliffe himself. Now is the time we get our asses into gear and show solidarity with the Crawfords. But we could still do more with more bodies to attend. Please don't comment on here. Just turn up about 9:30 a.m, park at the pub and walk down. There will be someone there to direct you if needed. The pub is the Yule's Arms, and you will see it before you get to Tom's. And indeed you will, because I've drove there myself. And to be quite honest, if you've got small engines, guys, I mean, me myself, I've got a 1 litre engine, and going up that hill, your car will chug like that little tractor that went up the hill. And Tom's and Sue's family home is 3 Fern Chase, Carlton, Nottingham, NG4 1DN. The Yule's Arms pub is at the bottom. When you come in, which will be on the main sort of road, when you turn left into the road, you'll see it on your right. That's a bit of helpful info from someone that's been there. Unfortunately, I can't go, but yeah, there's some people going to the cult and there's some people going to the house. But if you can get there, we do need more boots on the ground there, just in case these lovely bailiffs want to come and try and take that, and they'll have a lovely welcome committee, won't they, Michael?
Yes. One thing I would say is, as you're coming into Nottingham, you see police vans or police cars gathering near to where in the Colton area of Nottingham. I would say as soon as you arrive at Tom's addresses, you let people know, because it is suspected that the police and the bailiffs will be hanging around like bad smells, just waiting for a phone call from the court to go in and behave like thugs. So if on your way in to the Colton area of Nottingham, you see marked police vehicles or even unmarked police vehicles with officers in it, and you see unmarked vehicles with what look like overweight, rotund individuals, which are normally bailiffs, private bailiffs, hanging around with them, tell somebody, because then we know, once they know numbers, they need to get more people into the road where Tom and his family live, to protect him and his family. Then that can be done. But,
peacefully.
Yes, above all, keep it peaceful. Don't be the aggressor. If the police and the bailiffs want to be aggressors, you are entitled to use reasonable force to defend yourself and to defend property. If you are struck by a bailiff, then I'm sure there's plenty of people who are quite very prepared to put the bailiff flat on their backside and restrain them suitably until the police decide to do their job and nip them.
Yeah.
There's no need for violence. It doesn't achieve anything. Vader seems to think it does. What they don't like is when a debtor or someone they're threatening turns around and says, "Get out of here! You've got no right to be here." The Vader, "Oh, I could do that," until they find themselves flying out to the door and landing flat on their arse on the path. The look on their face is kind of a puzzled look, kind of, ooh. Then they go crying to the police saying they've been assaulted. The police obviously have not been trained in what the bailiffs do and what they can and cannot do. Kind of are taken in. Well, this is one of the reason why I said just now. This is why we may arrange a program to sort of enlighten the police as to what bailiffs do, what they cannot do, what they can do, and what
and everyone
should not do. And that includes helping them to get into places where they've got no right to be.
And of course, it's to enlighten the lovely public as well, and trying to wake people up as well in the process, and doing it in a very creative way, I hope. And
we can do that. I mean, audio visual is a very, very powerful way and very effective way of getting a message across. So
absolutely.
Yes, I mean, this is an ideal sort of medium for us to sort of explain to people what bailiffs can do, what they cannot do, and if any bailiffs want to kind of watch in, by all means. I mean, you might learn something you don't already know, or you might know that your colleague is kind of doing something they shouldn't, and you can kind of shock them to your boss, or you might realise, oops, right, now they've turned the police against me, how am I going to get into that place now?
Just a final thought for you all. I say this on every broadcast I've done so far, and it seems to be quite effective. And it's very significant to Tom Crawford, which is power of the people is stronger than the people in power.
Very true.
Absolutely. And I think this is what Tom needs tomorrow. He doesn't need good luck, guys. He needs justice.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and our friends at GCHQ and anywhere else in the country, and our lovely friends that have come in Unity and Peace Patrol News tonight, and for our emergency late night broadcast. And everybody take care and stay safe tomorrow, who's going to Nottingham. And everybody stay safe in Liverpool, and have a good night. Morning.
What is it? Sunday, is it?
What's that?
The next broadcast is on, I believe, is on Sunday, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Trying to decide a time as yet. It will be in the afternoon. I'll give everybody a bit more of a warning. We're going to have hopefully the lovely Wendy Hurst and PJ Tansley as well. He will be attending there. He'll be attending Tom Crawford. We're going to do a bit of a broadcast on that as well. And any other things that anyone wants to suggest, then please do feel free to message the YouTube channel, which is called Unity Patrol, or send us a quick email on Unity Patrol Broadcast, that's all one word, at gmail.com. All right, you take care, guys, and good morning to everyone, and speak to you guys hopefully very soon. You take care, Michael. Thanks ever so much for coming on.
Okay then, bye now.
No worries, bye.